application letter. Yeah, okay. So then and then by that time you are probably just applying for your visa. In the UK, just go do your thumbprint, biometrics, no interview. In the US, God bless you, God help you with your visa interview. Yeah. It's one of the most chaotic stuff. And in Canada, the same thing, right? Then by the time it's end of July, welcome to a new dispensation. I just also had that. I know Kuseme had given, a lot of a very decent outlook to it, but I just thought maybe this
Yeah, this is
outline
really great.
helps.
Amazing.
You could print these and just, mark track your process. Thank you very much.
This is
Akintunde, for somebody who says he doesn't have much to say, guys, he gave us a full lecture.
And just
I mean, very detailed, very, very detailed.
exactly.
If nobody took anything from this, I'm sure they took screenshots, and that's an awesome guide for everybody. So thank you so much for that. I mean, my hands are up for you. So that's something. Thank you so much. So just to follow up on what Akintunde has said, it's important that you understand the timelines. And one thing he said that resonated to me is don't limit yourself. Many of us want to apply to schools that don't take only IELTS, or English language proficiency. You want to apply to schools that are lower because you assume that they will just quickly take you. In some cases, you'll be surprised that the Ivy League schools, Oxford in the UK, Cambridge, and the likes of that, they would also accept your application. So don't limit yourself to the kind of schools that you apply to, whether it's UK, US, Canada, spread your tentacles. I think today talked about applying to 9 schools. I remember when I was applying to Chevening, I think I did more than 6 schools and I got offers from 4 schools. And then I decided to choose one school. So don't limit yourself. Have options when you are applying to the schools that you're applying to. So Chinaza, I know Akintunde has talked about, the step-by-step process, but you who have lived in Europe and studied in 2 different universities during your joint masters, and now you're in Canada for your PhD. What are practical strategies that students can use to manage their finances effectively when they're studying in the UK or in a foreign country practically? I know Akintunde mentioned the small stipend that Chevening used to give us. That money was really very small, but at least we're grateful for it.
I didn't
So
I didn't
how
say
can
I didn't say chimney stack very small. No, 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 no. No.
No, I
Wallahi.
didn't say it was small. No, I'm just saying that in that period when the money
Yes.
was small to be able to manage as a
God,
student at
God
the side.
bless God bless Lucas Zaborski. Yeah, God bless
Savage
Lucas.
stock.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
yeah.
So, Kuseme, Chinaza rather, how can people, what are strategies that people can use to manage their finances when they are studying and living abroad?
Okay, so I will just say very few things that helped me because Erasmus gives us this money, and if at least you stay in one country, it will be nice. But imagine every 4th semester, every 4 months you are moving, right? Like for me, I moved like every 4 months, and it was more like studying in 5 countries. I studied in 5 countries in 2 years. And this money, they give it to you. Yes, you will feel rich the first time, especially if you get Erasmus. They just send you they don't book flight for you. So you arrive, you have to arrive and they send you this money for your flight tickets and everything. But it's not that you give them a quota or something. They already have a certain amount, 3,000 euro, and then a settling amount of 1,000 euro. And then that September monthly stipend, as at then it was 1,000 euros. So in your hand, you have like 5,000, feeling like the richest youngster in in Nigeria. But you have to save this money, right? Once you pay back, especially if somebody paid you, gave you some money to book your flight, because Erasmus doesn't do a book flight for you until you come. You have to pay back. And one of the things that helped me to manage my accounts is that I had an account, like official account, where my stipend comes in, and I then created another online banking account. There are different accounts like N26, Revolut, and all that accounts. So I advise that you have that. Why it's good is that when you are seeing all this money coming in every month, you think that you are rich, you can be buying anything. And another thing with abroad is that once you in Nigeria, you go to market, you just stick to your list, right? But abroad is that you have a list. Sometimes you don't even have. Once you go to that grocery, everything, like, you'll be surprised, 200 euro, from your, and this thing is happening to me in Canada. I used to spend like 100 euro in Europe when I'm buying grocery. But in this Canada, I'll go to the grocery, 200 has left me. I'm like, what is happening? I don't know whether it's the economy or something, but what I want to say is that always have your list before you go to any grocery. And also, let me continue with that, creating another account. You move the money once you pay your rent. Rent is a big deal. If we can be paying the amount we pay in Nigeria for rent, what we pay abroad for rent is like your whole year rent in Nigeria. That's for 1 month in abroad, you know, that kind of thing. So you have to remove it, and it takes the bulk of your money that they send to you. Let's say then we were paying like 400 or 300 euro. And then once you pay your rent, you take the amount you need. You save this amount in your scholarship, like for me, my scholarship account, and then take like 200 euro out to that online banking account. That's the one I have in my Apple Pay. That's the one I can always carry the anything you want to pay for. You understand? So you have to make, like, if you don't want to do that, you have to create like the amount you really want to pay, like the amount you really want to spend for the whole month. Because if you move that, but for me, I would advise move the money, then use it. But if you use it, if you finish it, then you say bye-bye to that month, like, okay, we are done for the month, and you wait for the next one. So always save. I will never advise like putting saving money to your Nigerian account. Like, don't do, like, I won't advise that. Just leave it there in your the country, you get the country's account. And then what else? I think that's it. And then when getting back to that spending, when you are abroad, please spend first. Have a list of whatever you want to go whenever you want to go to the grocery, buy all that. You can treat yourself, but at least once in a month, right? I used to treat myself once in a month. I ride my bike and then go to the city center and just maybe buy pizza. You see the treat? Don't mind me. It's not just that treat, but at least have some money to treat yourself, but still spend responsibly. That will help you, okay?
Thank you so much, Chinaza. Actually, very, very, very detailed. Sorry, very, very detailed. I mean, it's important. Two things that I took is have a list and have an account, another account. I remember when I started studying in the UK, we had our Chevening stipend card, which was, and then I had a Lloyds Bank account, which was a UK account. But I did open a dummy online account called Monzo, right? That account was where I had all the things that whatever I wanted to spend, I would just, put it on there. So it's important that the money can come and look big, but before you know, it's off. And then you need to also prioritize. What am I spending my money? When you're abroad, you want to buy all the nice things, the clothes, the shoes. You need to prioritize, because already in many cases, you are abroad and you don't have family members. You're practically in a strange land, so you are fending for yourself. So I'm just to add to what you said, is that prioritize the things that you're spending money on. Even if your tuition is fully covered and all that, it's important that you prioritize. Brilliant. Thank you so much for that clarification. I can see that we have questions in the chat. We'll definitely come to your questions. Please just hang on with us. Useme, I have a question for you. So what are some hidden costs that students should consider when planning to study abroad? Right? Many a times, even with a scholarship, many a times people feel like because I have a fully funded scholarship, I'm not going to go with my own money. Right. So what are some hidden costs that students should consider when planning to study abroad? Your mic is muted. I can see that the question is.
Sorry. Sorry. I said, thank God you say hidden, because the costs are very hidden. You think that you are on top of the game. The costs are hidden, But let's start with the unhidden ones, okay? Paying for passports. You have to pay to get your international passports. You have to pay to get your transcript. And some schools, depending on the location, would insist that it is your university that should post the transcript to them. And your university, depending on how much they charge, it's not cheap. As you know, paying for the transcript and then asking your university, because for instance, you apply to 9 schools, it means your university has to post 9 times, and they charge different amounts if they are posting to the UK, if they are posting to the US, Canada. So that alone is a lot of money. And then, so I think after you get your transcripts, international passport out of the way, depending on the scholarship you get, you may get a refund for visa application, because visa application fees, like student visa application in the UK, you would pay around 400 and something for the visa itself, and then you'll pay like 700-800 and something for health insurance if your visa is 1 year. And then if your visa is like 2 or 3 years, if it's undergraduate degree and your visa is 3 years, then you pay for health insurance for each year. But some scholarships will refund you. However, you will have to first use your money to pay for that visa. When we did Chevening, we didn't pay because Chevening is just different. And a lot of other scholarships, see Chevening scholars, your head is swelling. I usually tell people, I consider Chevening one of the very stress-free scholarships out there. You see, Chevening, you get a scholarship, they'll not tell you need to come out with a distinction for you to sustain your scholarship.
You haven't told them aside the application process. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's a stress-free when you have
no,
gotten
aside the application process, every other thing outside the application process is like very breezy, because when I hear stories about other scholarships, I'm like, man, Chevening really gave us a smooth ride because we didn't have to pay for that visa. Some scholarships, you have to pay for the visa. When you arrive in the country, they now refund you. Now, before you apply for your visa, there is something called tuberculosis test. You have to pay for that. It's about 50-something thousand. No, it used to be 50,000 until Nigeria exchange rate scatter everywhere. So it's about 70-something thousand now. If you have to write IELTS, you're gonna pay. IELTS used to be like 70K something. Now it is like 150-something thousand. If you are going to Canada and you have to assess your credentials with WES, you're gonna pay some money. In fact, that one, no scholarship is going to refund to you, because that is before you even make an application to a university. So you see, the cost is plenty. So for me, what I did, I knew that I would not be able to afford a university tuition, but I was saving at least, in fact, see, let me tell you guys, the first salary that I ever got in my life, I started saving from there. It was NYSC now. So you know how maybe before you get the money, you say you will save, and when you now get the money, you don't save. Mba, that is not me. My very first NYSC salary. So I have this thing. I don't know. I've read a lot of financial books, so I get knowledge for myself. So you go seek knowledge, okay? If you're listening to me, you don't have any excuse to be financially irresponsible in your adult life. Chinasa was already talking about how you should budget and all. If you have plans to leave Nigeria, the first thing you have to know is that your Naira is nothing as compared to every other currency out there. Your Naira is literally crawling on the floor, and you need to pad up to actually get $10. You know how much $10 is? Now you want to apply for WES, they say $40. You want to apply for transcripts, you want to post transcripts abroad, $25 by the time you convert to Naira. So you have to start saving wherever you are. If you like, tell me that you're earning 50K, I don't care. 1,000 you can save, 500 you can save. Save, because what happened was, when I was ready to travel abroad, I did not get any money from anybody. Abby, you see the money that Chevening gave me. The first time I got money from anybody with my travel was when my last day at work, when my office gave me some money. But before my last day at work, I've already gotten admission, I've already gotten scholarship, I've already applied for visa, so where do you think I got the money from? My savings. So you have to have that money, that pot of money that you can dip your hand in. And the good thing is when you start on time, because you don't have to spend all this money at once. It would be maybe a transcript today, 3 months later, IELTS. That's why Akintoye has given you 1 year plan. If you have I even had a 2-year plan, a 2 years plan, because by the time I realized what I needed to apply for Chevening, I was 2 years behind because I didn't even have work experience. So I had a 2 years plan, which is why I probably had time to save up. Because for that 1 year, you would be spending every month, you will spend money. So whenever you get money, save up. Save as much as you want, because that is it's like when somebody's building a house, that's their priority. All those other expenses, cut them and save money. If you have the ability to save the money in dollars, go for it, because the exchange rate fluctuates a lot. And usually when you're applying for visa, some countries would need proof of funds. If you get a scholarship, yes, your scholarship would be sufficient for that as your proof of fund. But if you don't get a scholarship, you have to provide your proof of funds. And one of my friends was applying for for visa, and what she needed in naira was 11 million naira. And because of the exchange rate, after like 2 months, because of the exchange rate, she needed 18 million naira, because dollars don't rise. So those are the things that you need to save up, because you need to foot the bills. Transcript, very important, because transcript is one of the first things. If you do not provide your transcript, you may not be able to submit the application. So you're not even going to get admission if you don't pay your university to process your transcript. And if you school in a very kind of Nigerian university, you're going to pay kickback, because once they see that you want to do anything abroad, they tell you that, so you want me to just process your transcripts, you not give me something. I have heard stories. My university was very kind. In fact, I had somebody do all of that for me. I still paid, but I have seen universities that frustrate people. You finish school thinking that you've left them. You've not left them. You will go back and beg them to give you transcripts. You will go back and beg them to give you references. I have heard people who said they had to appreciate the referee with a token. That's money that you did not plan for. So those are all the hidden charges. Apart from all those statutory charges, when you're going abroad, you're going to shop, you're going to buy Nigerian stuff, food items. They are not cheap. You have to buy travel boxes. Like before I traveled, the boxes I had in Nigeria, they were very heavy. It's like a box that when it's empty is already like 8 kg, 10 kg. When you now put stuff, it's more. So I had to go to the market, buy very light travel bags. So you're going to spend a lot for buying Nigerian stuff, because you don't want to come from day one, you're eating pizza. From day one, you're eating pasta. So you would gather, and those is not cheap. You probably need a lot of money to take care of that. And then when you're traveling, your scholarship is not going to pay for your excess luggage. So it is either you stick to the 23 kg 2 luggages that they give you. You keep all your items at home. But if you want to pay, when I was traveling for the first time, that money still they paid me till today. Don't laugh. When I was traveling for the first time, when I was going for chimney, I paid $100 for excess luggage. That, you see, as that money in my chest till today, 5 years later. I paid excess $100. And recently, a friend was traveling, and she paid, it was in naira she paid for, so she paid about 400,000 for excess luggage. So you guys will think, I have 223 kg, but it's nothing. So somebody will like me, I'll go and buy the kind of bag that when that bag is empty, it is like 2 kg. So that because I want to pack it, I will stock that bag. I have a video on my channel that I show people how to pack. But these are the different things that you're going to pay money for. God bless you, you're traveling from Lagos Airport. You're done for. Because you're going to be spending money at every stop. I always try not to travel or land in Lagos. It traumatizes me. Because when you think you're just traveling, kickbacks at the airport, those are the money, those are all the money. And then when you arrive, you will need a taxi or transportation system from the airport to transport you to your destination. And then when you arrive, for instance, you don't know the kind of, some scholarships, I know MasterCard scholarships give their scholars laptops, right? But when I came to the UK, I had to buy a new laptop, I had to buy a new phone, and that was from my money. So even if you're of course, when you arrive, they're going to give you arrival allowance. But arrival allowance is for you to buy bedding, cooking items, bedding. They're not gonna. Do you know how much laptop is? Maybe $1,500. So if they don't give you laptop, your arrival allowance, if you use your arrival allowance to buy laptop, then it's gone. So those are the things that you need to save up money for. I think I've been talking too much. Don't worry, I like to talk. Sorry, guys.
Thank you so much, Couscous. Honestly, I think you said every single thing. Flights, visa, tuberculosis, health checks, in between course. I mean, very detailed, very, very detailed. So thank you so much for that. And yes, I remember you went ahead of us during shipping, and your excess luggage gave me a cue to use my bag. So yeah, thank you so much for that. Guys, you can put your questions in the chat. If you're just joining in, you can put your questions in the chat and we'll address them. We're trying to be very fast on the session, but we're trying to also make sure that we address every area that concerns people. So we've said a lot in terms of application process and many things that we've discussed so far, but I wanted to ask three of you scenario-based questions, because these questions maybe address somebody who is in that situation, right? So take for instance, Akin, this question is for you. Akin, today is for you. Abdul finished with the second class, but has always had like the intention to study abroad. What can you suggest can be the best approach for him? Because many people always feel like I have two. I have a third class. Will they take me? Will the school take me? And all that. You can just kindly help us shed some light on that. Thank you.
I mean, I guess because you knew that I graduated with a 2-2, so you decided to call me out, and
that was not the intention.
I graduated with no class. I was I think when I even left, undergrad, a lot of my classmates had thought that I had an extra year. So because during the NYSC, it was late to be mobilized. I wasn't mobilized early. So they didn't see my picture of being in camp when others were in camp. So they just assumed that I didn't graduate because, undergraduate at the time was it was terrible. But I'm trying to find a slide. I think I have a slide about those who graduate with a 2-2 third class or no class. Just give me a moment. But while I'm trying to get the slide, when I'm trying to get a slide, I think there is a principle of applying for scholarships that I have come to realize.
I can go on and share my experience while you're looking for the slide.
I think it will take a while because I thought it would be on this the current slide that I showed earlier, but it wasn't. I think I need to just, but I'm gonna give it. I think I'll just give very clear. So I think there's a principle for applying for scholarships. Whether was it Kuseme or Achinazada said, Oyinbo will not just look at you because you get fine face. Can't talk, say, okay, take this $50,000 for a year to study, or I even think I think Chivin scholarship is worth about £50,000. When you look at the Erasmus, pretty much more than that because it's going like 2 years or something. They'll pay your flights. I don't think that people are just nice. I don't think that's how it is. Or if you're in North America or Canada, and then they're saying, okay, so because you graduate with a first class, so that's not actually how it works. There's a principle behind it, and I'm going to give you an example, and I'll tie it to the 2-1, 2-2. If you're still in school, like if you're still in uni, please, I beg you, try and have good grades. It makes your journey easier and makes your Turenchi, your SOP, it breaks down the pressure a little bit. The fact that you graduate top of a class, top 5, top 10, it already reduces the bias and the stress of over explaining why you are a decent applicant. Don't forget, when we were applying for Chivni, we about 8,000 plus. They selected only 47. I was talking to the director of graduate study of a particular university in the US just a few days ago, talking about, looking through applications, and they're saying that they got about 183 applications, and they got to select only 4 for PhD funding. just 4. So, and I was just asking, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. Why just 4? And like, they can't admit, because if you get admitted for the PhD in that department and the school, you get automatically funded, right? So why should a school bother about your academic credentials? One, research is not easy. So they want people who have gone through similar, difficult, rigorous research journey, so that when you, I can imagine, Chinaza, about the trauma of graduate school, so they want people who can, when they are on campus, they want people who would not, one, be failing in their papers, 2, who would also increase the department ranking or the university ranking in research excellence. So that's the first principle. A university is a university. Harvard, Cambridge, Stanford, MIT, they are what they are today because of their research output, the quality of the research, and the quality of the graduates. So a school would admit top students because those students would help them consolidate their current ranking. It's a win-win, and they would bring you in if you know that you had value. Now, and I had to say that because a lot of scholarships, a lot of funding that are like non-restricting scholarships, and mostly in the US and Canada, they are very big on academic excellence. But does that mean those who graduate with a 2-2 or a 3rd class or no class like me, does that mean you don't deserve one? It's tricky. And I'll give you an example. If you're applying for a scholarship like Chivney that is interested in consequential professional exploits, we have seen people who graduated with 3rd class move on Chivney. You will show, because Chivney would blindly review your application based on the 4 prompts of the essays. The first essay, 500 words, demonstrate that you are a leader. What does leadership mean to you? How have you demonstrated being a leader? How would Chivney support you as a leader? The first question. Second question, in your leadership journey, how have you leveraged relationships to solve problems? Just like, Abigail just decided to summon all of us and say, yeah, people, your weekend, just go around and talk here, to solve problems, right? So how have you been able to leverage your friends, your relationships to solve problems? The third one, why do you want to study in the UK? Why are you studying the course? Why that university? The fourth one, when you're done, you return to your country, what would you do after you have won the scholarship? Simple. No, there's no question about why did you go with the 1st class, why 2nd class? No. But most universities, some scholarships, they are more interested in your history from a family that has not been able to pay bills. More like they call them 1st-generation scholars. I don't like, personally, I have if you ask me some 10 years ago, I would proudly write an essay and say, I grew up in Oyo, and they are giving 30 naira to buy food, all those nonsense story, I don't think I want to put that into my writing. I never ever write that kind of essay. I don't like it. I think it portrays us as, as needy, when I have come to realize that, yes, that's our reality for those of us who were from, I know they call it humble background. If you don't get money, you don't get choice. There's nothing humble about it. It's just poor background. Some of us are from poor background, we don't get choice. There's nothing humble about it. We were just poor, So, I could potentially write about it, but it has nothing to do with the capacity and the value that I'm able to offer, the kind of value that I'm going to offer as a candidate. So some scholarships want you to talk about how you are one person out of a generation of 100 to go to university. Those narratives, some scholarships want to, they want to be sure that you don't have the financial resources to study. That's another. But there are scholarships that are just, they are not, when they get first class graduates, they are happy, they are okay. But there are some that they want to look at it holistically. So they have pretty much academic excellence, 20% in the ranking, clarity of purpose, 10%, relevance of your research, 30%. I mean, see, these things are dire. It's not like casting stone. It depends, right? So if you know that you didn't graduate with the first class, what I would, or we are not top of your class, second class, I will advise that no matter the course, try and at least, maybe if you are applying in the next 2 months, can you write 2 high-level analyses on your field? Read about the latest book in your field and just do a review and publish in the local newspaper. I mean, these are intellectual activities that will show a reviewer that you are not an idiot, that you can survive the rigor of grad school. What do you do in grad school? Seminar, 10 papers, book reviews, and that's it. That's exactly what grad school is about. I mean, in the humanities and social sciences, if you are in science, in STEM, probably you do some experiments and all, but the experience, that's just how it is, right? So imagine you're studying food security, or food technology or something, and there's like a book that a top, professor or a top expert had just published, you could read and say, oh yeah, sure, this is good. Just pick up, what are areas of research relevant to your country. And, you could even publish it on Medium. Let's not even say local newspaper. That's intellectual activity. That evidence of it. So if you had graduated 6 years ago with a 2-2, and in 2024, you're writing about a relevant paper in your field, then it would show that you have conducted intellectual work that they can, examine you on, and that can say, okay, yeah, this person makes sense. That's one. The second point, don't just apply webinars and conferences for the sake of it. There is no field that don't have conferences. Apply to attend. When you attend conferences and you make presentations, that's another, grad school is about that, That's another evidence you could show that, oh yeah, so again, and if you are not able to do all of this, how have you excelled in your current professional engagement? I knew that I would apply for Chivney, so I have been building my professional portfolio since I graduated, because I knew that I wanted to go abroad. I knew that, okay, now I can see Abigail is trying to say that I should, okay, I'm just going to stop talking about this right now. I know that. I mean, I was looking at the comment box because I know that I have a tendency to go off board. So when you look at the work that you're doing, how have you excelled in a particular aspect of that work that shows grit, that shows excellence, that shows that you are able to conduct research, or that you can thrive in chaos? If you have that evidence, you've led the team, you've been able to, or you've been teaching. Let's even say that you've not done anything, but you're teaching a secondary school for NYSC. That teaching portfolio is an added value that any university in North America will be happy to appreciate. So if you can emphasize the value that you can offer, whether with the work that you're doing, or whether with, let's say you're working in a cyber cafe, the business center where you register people for WAEC, for NECO, that's something you can leverage on. Those are administrative skills that will be useful. You can use that and make a case as to why excellence in that realm, should be considered over your 2-1, your 2-2, your low class or your no class from many years ago. If you have been a leader of your fellowship, of your students, Muslim society, where you coordinate young people or your colleagues, that leadership could be something you could emphasize to tell a story of, value that you can offer. Again, whether you have a 2-1 or 2-2 or 2-3 or 2-4, it's about how you tell your story of the value that you are able to offer. I'll use the mic now. And I'm sorry, Abigail, for taking the time.
Thank you so very much, Akintunde. I really,
very
really,
much.
really appreciate. I mean, you were not very long. I mean, you have a lot of wisdom, so we need to tap from it, and that's what we're tapping. I was so glad to have you on the session. I mean, you said a lot. I was just going to add to say that, everything you've said is spot on, right? Spot on from application. I know, right? It's just like I was reliving my entire application process all over again, just as
Exactly.
right? You can all agree. So I'm just going to add to that to say that I graduated with a 2-2. And when I was applying for scholarship, I was getting mad rejections, like, steady rejections, and when I applied for Chevening, once I understood that I applied for Chevening 3 times, just so you know, guys, I've been rejected. So those of you that have questions about how do you deal with rejection, keep applying and applying and applying. You just need that 1 yes. Once you have that 1 yes, you're good to go. And my 1 yes was Chevening. And I love that I got Chevening because it beat every other scholarship that rejected me that I was applying for in the past. So I don't have first class, I don't have 2-1, I had 2-2. And just like Akintunde has mentioned, many understand the dynamics of what the scholarship requirement is all about and tailor your application to that. If you can understand that they need to see professional experience, excellence, academic excellence, leadership qualities, contribution to society, whatever it is, once you understand the dynamics of what that scholarship is talking about, then you can now tailor your essays, your application to that, and fingers crossed you get it. Right, so I'm just going to acknowledge the questions in the chat. There's so many questions, and I'm so glad that the questions are coming in. It means that we're paying attention. So I'm going to address 2 questions, and then I'll come back to the questions that I have for my speakers, because I have a lot of questions for you guys. So from a scholarship from Sophia. Sophia said, I'm a bit confused. Do you apply for... This is to all my speakers. Kuseme, Akintunde just finished speaking, so I'll allow Akintunde relax. So this is for Chinaza and Kuseme. I'm a bit confused. Do you apply for scholarship before applying to the schools? Do you do it simultaneously or just apply to the schools and gain admission before applying for the scholarship? So who wants to be the first speaker? Chinaza and Kuseme.
I think it's a very short response, and for me, I will answer the person saying, I will tell the person that it depends on the scholarship and what you're applying for. Like we've already said, just like even Abby said, understand what the scholarship is about, understand the application process. When you don't understand the application process, Akintunde already gave us like a flow. If you understand the application process, then you can restructure that flow. When they say, you don't need admission for you to apply for a particular scholarship when submitting this application. Then go forward to identify the schools and then apply for that scholarship so that you meet the deadline, and then go back to applying for your admissions. But then some scholarships will also say you need to apply for this admission while applying for the scholarship. Then you do the 2 at the same time. Another scholarship may say you don't need a different admission application like Erasmus. You don't need a different application for admission. But then if you are interested in applying for scholarship, there is a particular application window, which Kuseme mentioned that these are the things like there are when you're applying for Erasmus programs, you don't need to specifically go apply for admission. You're applying for that very scholarship and also admission. So that window, make sure you put it down so you don't miss it at any time. When I tell people, once you open a scholarship, let's say I share a scholarship link to you, don't rush into applying immediately. Sit down, read. If you don't read, that's when you start going to Facebook and asking questions to other applicants that are also like you. I told people, I was saying it in my YouTube channel, like, I wanted to apply for Chevening the second time. The person that wanted to help me, Lillian Mark, I'll mention her, she told me, Chinaza, you have to take 1 week to go through a Chevening website again. I said, but I did it last year. She said, yeah, you have to do it again. So you have to sit down, write the requirements. What do they need? Understand that, because these are the things that can lead to pitfalls in all your applications if you don't pay attention to them, so that you don't miss information. So I can't tell you whether you should apply for scholarship now or admission later, or apply for admission now. Which scholarship do you want to apply for? That's the first question. Then when you get it, go to the page for the advert, read it. Read it, spend time on that, and stop spending time on people's status on Facebook.
You have to add that part.
I know what I'm saying. I have mentored young people like me, like I'm young still, but these ones, they just want you to
shortcuts. Call it shortcuts.
When should I apply? How should Auntie, I sent you link. Go and read it.
Go and read it.
Oh, thank you. Like, go and read. After reading, then when you have specific questions, there are questions you will ask me. I will not even respond to your DM. But there are questions you ask, I know, oh, this person really have question. I will come and respond to you. And these are the people I respond to. So I can't answer you. Go and read. Learn how to read. I always say it, all my videos, read diligently. If you don't read, the application will be hard for you. Because it's even from reading and understanding what the website says that you even understand their mission. I tell people, do you even understand the mission and vision of different applications? That's why you can't use the same essay. Chevening have their own. If you have those qualities they need, go for it. If you don't have, if you want to look like somebody that comes from a humble background, like Akitunde said, you can go for like MasterCard and what's the Commonwealth, and explain all your entire life there. You understand? They have their mission, so you have to read to know what they want. And that's when you focus on what they are asking. So please read. Read. Thank you very much.
Because you want to add in 1 minute, or 30 seconds rather.
Yeah, so everything Chinasa said, plus I'm just going to give examples. So it's like adding flesh to what Chinasa has just said. So for Chevening Scholarship, the university application and the scholarship application are two separate processes on their own right. They are not mixed at all. The university doesn't care if you're applying for anything, scholarship or what. Chevening doesn't care whatever university you're applying for. So you're going to make the Chevening Scholarship application before Chevening Scholarship deadline, and you're going to make the university application before the application deadline. Now, for Commonwealth Shared Scholarship, both of them work hand in hand. You cannot do one without the other. So when you are applying for Commonwealth Scholarship is when you are applying for the university application. It's one form, if you get what I mean. So in the same form, you're applying to the university, and in the same form, you're applying for a Commonwealth Scholarship. And that's because it is called Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. It means the scholarship is being offered by Commonwealth and the university, 50-50. It's different from Commonwealth Scholarship. Now, so that's how it works. So then there are some scholarships in Oxford University that when you're applying for the course itself, you're applying for Masters in Corporate Law in Oxford, after you've provided your personal statement, answered all the application questions, at the bottom they'll ask you, are you applying for any of our internal scholarships? If you say yes, the scholarship application form will automatically come up because they'll ask you which one. You say, this is the one I'm applying for. And they attach the scholarship application. So when you are submitting the application for admission in Oxford, you are automatically applying for the scholarship. So those are 3 different examples giving flesh to what Chinasa just said. It depends on the scholarship and the university.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Tuseme. I mean, I hope that answers the question that Sophia had asked. You know, it's important that you, again, to reiterate, read, research about the scholarship. There are many scholarships that don't require you applying for the scholarship together with your application. There are some that want you to have admission with them first before you apply for the scholarship. There are some that you apply both of them together, and the dynamics are different. For European University, I know that there's the Polish scholarship, there's the scholarship in Netherlands, you know, so understand the dynamics of how the scholarship is, whether you need to apply first and get admission before you apply for a scholarship, or you do it joint. So the dynamics are very different. So I'm going to take up another question very quickly. So the question, I don't understand it very well, is from Olajide. He says, how about I want my kids to continue abroad? I'm going to ask if Jide is on the call. Do you want to just quickly unmute your mic and in just 30 seconds, kind of put out your question properly so that we can know exactly how we address it? And while Jide is trying to unmute his mic, the next question that I have seen, you know, in the chat, it's from Quadri, right? Quadri is saying, as a current student, what are things that should matter to me in pursuit of a scholarship? Anybody want to take that very, very quickly, like in 3 seconds? What are things
I think Akintunde already said it.
Sorry, yeah, I think we've already
Akintunde said your academics, top notch, because as a student, what can you do? Those grades will open doors that you did not even think existed. Yeah. So that's literally what you should concern yourself with.
Yeah, so very true. It's important that as you're studying, don't think of, I just want to graduate, I just want to leave the school. You know, exactly. Think about your... go on.
Okay, so I just also want to add something. I love talking to undergraduates, especially if you are still in school. That's when I started my journey. That's why I always like to answer their questions. So what matters to you, the academic excellence that you should graduate with. If you're already like not making good grade, let's say you're in 3rd year, please bring out a book, write your goals, your target scores for the 4th year, or maybe your final year, or you're in your penultimate year. Write out what you want to graduate with and work with it. In this chat, I think this webinar, we started with prayer, right? That means most people here are Christians. Work with it, write out your goal, pray with it, like run with it for the whole remaining years in your undergraduate study. And then as you are in school, we are getting there to this reference thing. Please engage with your network. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, connect with your professors. Establish relationships with your professors. Like, I'm not boasting about it, but if I have an application to make, and let's say the entire people that graduated from my department have application to make, I know 3 professors or 4 that when I say I'm applying to, is my letter they will submit first. You understand? But that's based on the relationship you build, you establish before you leave. So right now, that professor that keeps like face as if he's not, meet him, those ones that you did that supervised your what's it called? Like sometimes we do term paper, sometimes we do that final year seminar, the ones that supervised your IT. Like keep that established. Hey, Prof, good afternoon. I just came here to say how if there is anything I will help you do, let me know. I can. Oh, ma, can I carry this thing for you? Oh, sir, like do that. It's not because of anything, but for your own good, like for the sake of networking. This is, I'm telling you, will be surprised that if I tell you that my 3rd evening example was that, because I don't know example again to give, and I needed 50 words. I said that I established relationship with my professors, this, that, and kept in connection with them until date. And this is why they have provided me with my referee letter for my admissions, which I've secured for the Chevening. As easy as that. That was my third example in my Chevening, apart from the big example, like the real professional examples. But that one was just small, just because I wanted to use up my 40 remaining words. So please establish that relationship and network. And even if you have graduated, let me mention, if you studied in that very commute school and maybe you happen to be in that state, you can stop by and say, hello, ma, I came to this day. I worked here, I did a project here, I decided to just stop by and say hi. She doesn't know you have some plans at the back of your mind. It's just so that in case by September, January, you will not drop the message. Hey, ma, I told you about my interest. Start explaining your interest to them. I remember when I was also in school, I told I was doing my master's because I started my master's in Nigeria. And then my professors, wherever I passed, Chinas, I have not left this country. Like, every of them know that this girl have applied and died in the rejections, but they were still supporting me. They were eager to support me and provide anything I needed. But that's because of the relationship established. Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you, Chinaza. That's just spot on.
Yeah, I would like to add one thing to what Chinasa just said.
Yeah,
I would like to say that please stop putting your professors and deans and referees in a very difficult position. If you come to me to write a reference, so let me just quickly break down what they usually request in reference letters is, how long have you known this person? And can you vouch for their capacity, their academic capacity, academic excellence, like what Akintunde said, research is intensive. They want your referees to vouch that you are capable of performing that job. If they don't know you and if they don't know what you can do, you're putting them in a difficult situation. That's why some people, they ask for referees and reference letters and they don't get it. So when you're establishing relationships with your lecturers, you are trying to make them to know you. Let them know you by name. Let them know you by face. Let them know your capacity. Yes, you took their test and you had a C. It doesn't matter. Go and talk to them about it. Oh, sir, I took your course, so I had a C, but don't worry, next time I'll do better. Let them know this person. You don't need to be the top performing student in the class. But the question is, do they know you by name and by face? If you leave that school today and come back in 2 years, not even come back. See, since I left my uni and went to law school, I haven't gone back there. But you know that I've gotten lots of references from them. My dean of law, my this. Do you know that my dean of law had to call, because he was not so proficient in the website that they needed him to submit a reference because of me. He called a student downstairs to come to his office just to help him access whatever documents they needed to access so they can upload it for me. I was like, what did I do to deserve this? It's because they know me by name and they know me by face. And they know that I was not a bad student. So I might not have been the one taking the first positions. But if I see them, will I just greet them? Will I smile? Will I make them feel good to be my teacher? Or all I do is stress them out? So you want to put your referees in a very easy position that when you make that request, they are quick to provide it. So that's what I had to say.
Thank you so much, Kuseme. Okay, so thank you for that addition. Jide has just sent me a message to explain his question. So his initial question was that, just give me a minute because there are a lot of questions have come in. So he mentioned that how about when I want my kids to continue studies abroad? So he clarified that the kids are already in Nigeria, right? I mean, you're a father, you have kids. They're not up to 18, or you want your kids to go abroad. How can I help continue their studies abroad? I don't know if anybody. So for me, I would just quickly add to say that it's important to know, like we've said, research the scholarships that are available, right? Depending on the age bracket of the kids. I know that there are some foreign universities that partner with Nigerian universities. So your child may be in Nigeria and still have like a funding from abroad. So it's important to know the scholarships that are available within the schools that they are in. and then you're able to harness and tap that. Then you need to also know the requirements of what those scholarships are all about, right? How it applies to your kids. Some scholarship for people between 13 to 18, maybe the dynamics have changed, is that you need to be studying maybe biology, or you need to study physics or chemistry or further maths, so it's understanding the dynamics of what your child is studying at now in secondary school or undergraduate, and then seeing how that applies to the scholarship that is available. I don't know if that helps to answer your question, and if any of my speakers want to just add to that.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. Yeah. In addition to what Abby just said, depends if they are in secondary school right now. A lot of unis abroad do not take WAEC result as the ultimate criteria to admit students. So you would need to research about getting them to write A levels, okay? And not just A levels. Some of them need to write GCSE, because in the UK, those are the advanced examination that they would use to admit them. Now, if your child only has WAEC and didn't write GCSE or A levels, they can do like pre-courses, like what we call in Nigeria remedial courses or pre-degree courses. They have them too in the UK. So that means your child would come to the UK and do either, depends on the school. Some schools offer pre-degree pre-courses for 1 year, foundation courses for 1 year. Others offer for 6 months. So if it is only WAEC result they have, then they can come and do foundation year, which is 1 year. And then that means in that foundation year, they're going to be teaching them and assessing them in all the courses that they should have had in their A levels. Then another thing you need to do is, if your friend, you say, oh, I don't know where to start from. Your child's school, depending on your location, schools do have connections with education agents. I know that in my profile, you see that I'm a UK education agent. Schools do have education agents that they work with. Depending on where you live, I know that in Abuja, there is always a lot of education open days in Sheraton. It's now called, I think, Intercontinental Hotel. So at least once in 3 months, I get notifications for those events. In Lagos, in Abuja, in Port Harcourt, they have open days. What is an open day? An open day is a day where different representatives abroad, from universities abroad, come to Nigeria to help you talk, tell you what your child needs to get into school, look at your results, look at your qualifications, and tell you what to do. And they usually have representatives in Nigeria. So assuming you don't know anything at all, you don't know your left from right, how to go about it. First thing is talk to the school authority. Do you guys have any events, or do you know any contacts that you can give me, because I want to make inquiries about my child studying abroad? A lot of schools in Lagos and Abuja do have authorized institutions that they send their students to go take A-level exams and all these other professional advanced exams to study abroad. And the ones that don't have definitely would have those contacts for, University, King's College University, they definitely have a representative in Nigeria, a contact office. UCAS has a representative in Nigeria. You guys, do you know that when I started my study abroad journey, I went to UCAS? So UCAS, just go online and type UCAS Nigeria office. They have office in Abuja, they have office in Lagos. Whether they've changed their name, I'm not sure. UCAS, yes, that's it. UCAS, not UCAS. UCAS. So UCAS would help you, make applications for you. Once you give them all the documents, in fact, they can take your hand, hold your hand from start to finish. They'll tell you these are the documents you need. This is what you need. This is where you can write your exams. They will even help you to submit your visa application for free, as long as you're ready to do the work to get your documents and transcripts ready and give them everything they ask you to do. So take advantage of this platform. It's not just you guys. There's another one called MOD Education. So if you just go online and type MOD Education, they do a lot of webinars where they invite university agents abroad and they talk about, if you want to come to my university, this is what you need, this is what you need. So look out for those kind of events. Those open days are very good. I used to attend some of them when I was eager to do so. I met representatives from Middlesex University, this university. So I was able to gather my information because they come with their brochures, their flyers, and they are able to give you a lot of information. So I hope that helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much, Kuseme. That was very detailed. So, we're pressed for time and we have a whole load of questions. I'm really very glad that all these questions are in, but we have a whole load of questions. So I'm going to do something very quickly. In the chat, if we can engage the chat, if you want us to add 10 more minutes to this session because we have more questions and I'm sure that we're enjoying the session. If you want us to add 10 more minutes with the approval of my guests, kindly put, if you want 10 more minutes, please put a lot of one in the chat. You know, I want to see the ones in the chat. But if you think that we should spend 20 and 15 more minutes, please put 2 in the chat. So I want to see ones and twos, you know, and then I can know how we can address all the questions because there are a whole lot of them.
If somebody now
I see a lot of 2. Wow, the 2s are winning. Okay, that's good to go. That's good to know. You cannot put twice. I'm seeing some people doing double. They're writing 2 times. You cannot double. You cannot do that 2 times. Just 1. Okay. So the 2s have it. So 15 more minutes. Okay. One of our guests wants to quickly leave the call. She has another appointment. But just before Chinaza runs off the call, I want to ask a question to Chinaza. So imagine Jennifer does not have enough work experience, right? And she wants to meet the requirements of a preferred scholarship. What kind of steps can she take to make her work experience look good, even if she doesn't have a lot of work experience?
Okay, so can you repeat the question again? Sorry. Let me hear.
So take, for instance, I don't have a lot of work experience, but my preferred scholarship requires that. What are the steps that I can take to make sure that I've done something, you know, to meet up? You know, like Chevening asks you for 2,800 hours to qualify to apply for scholarship.
That's true.
Right? You know, so what can I augment to make sure that I meet the scholarship requirement and then I can defend it?
Okay, so let's start with this. This very scholarship you prefer have a work experience. It depends requirements, and you don't have enough based on the question. Now, let's say you're applying for Chevening, which is your preferred, and Chevening wants 2,800 hours, and you have 1,008. You can't apply for Chevening. You have to look for another scholarship as at the point when you want to apply. Look around. There are other scholarships that require less, don't even require work experience. So now you can now use your work experience to even show that you are more qualified for this very for any scholarship you want to apply for, especially with those that don't require a certain amount of work experience. But those that still require, but they did not specify how many years, you can use what you have to show, because it's not about the amount of time. Chevening wants 2 years, like or 2,000. Is it 2,800 or 1,800?
2,800.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is 40 hours times 2 years, which is practically a wrap of 2 years work
exactly.
experience.
When Kuseme was talking, it was as if I and her graduated the same time and we were doing, like, maybe not, but she did almost the same thing I did. I learned about Chevening in my 4th year when I was looking for admission. That's undergraduate. I wrote it down. This Chevening, I will apply. But then I remember that I read the requirements, just like I told you, you have to read the eligibility criteria. And I realized that they required 2 years experience. What did I do? Immediately I defended in July. I graduated. I left August from my university. I remember I came back August. I came back August towards the end of August. And then I went, because I needed to apply for Chevening and I needed work experience. I needed to start gathering work experiences. I had to apply for a teaching job while waiting for my NYSC to start. I intentionally went. So I came back August and started the job. I applied for a job, I got it, and I did well. I started doing what I wanted, as like impacting on students, and the principal liked me. Okay, so you don't need to apply to. So that first year, I didn't apply for Chevening because I was not. Am I still here? Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I was not
I can hear
eligible.
you. Go on. I can hear you.
Okay, great. So because I was not eligible, I didn't apply for Chevening. as at that year, I didn't have enough. But that did not stop me from applying for Commonwealth. That did not stop me from applying MasterCard and every other scholarships. While I was collecting my rejections, my years were counting. You see, so I worked there for like how many months before my NYSC? So before my NYSC, I already gathered like that work experience plus my NYSC and plus the job I got after my NYSC. That made me so as at that time, I was already adding up. After my NYSC, I had like that amount of time Chevening required. That was my first application. So you must not apply to your most preferred at the point where you don't have enough to prove what they want. That's if they have a certain amount of hours required for work experience. But if they don't have, but just require work experience, even if you have 2 months work experience, it counts. It's the experience that matters. And that's what you have to use to show what you have. And just like Akitunde said, all these experiences, whether you have it, there are other things you want to add in your application, because it's not just work experience they are looking at. Now, let me take, for example, Akitunde. Now, he had all these experiences and he's a second class 2-2 candidate. And I am 2-1 candidate. And there is maybe Kuseme graduated with first class. Now we have 3 different people with strong applications. Kuseme with first class, it's doing like everything. Akitunde has gone far in all this professional development. So you too, you have to show your own self with whatever good results you have. So whether it's more work experience or volunteering experience, thank God that Chevening itself, even if it's volunteering, you can add up volunteering, professional, all the work experiences and add it up to your hours. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chinaza. So it's important that don't always think that work experiences are only paid experiences, right? Just to add to that, you have internship, you have volunteering. Many of the examples in my Chevening essay was volunteering experiences, things I had done for association bodies that I belong, HR bodies that I belong, and communities that I belong, NGO that I belong. Those classify as work experiences if you can explain them properly. So very quickly, I'll just go to the chat and read up the questions that we have just before Chinaza goes on. So Quadri asked the question to say that this person says Olorutoba, but I think that it is still Quadri. It's still somebody different, definitely not Toba asking this question, but it may be. So please, can you classify the types of scholarships that exist? I'm hearing Chimini. Okay, I think you mean Chimini. Can you explain the types of scholarship? So I won't stress my speakers. I'm just going to quickly respond to this. One of the things that has been reiterated on this call is that do your research. Research. Easy Google search, you say international scholarships in Europe. Many things will come up. International scholarships in Canada, in Poland. You can even streamline to the specific countries, and you see a gazillion and one scholarships that you're looking out for. International scholarship for Africans, international developments, it's just a quick search. And then once you've searched, that's when you now do the proper research and read, like Chinaza, Kuseme, and Akintunde has mentioned. Read those scholarships, know their terms of the scholarship, know what applies to the scholarship, and then you can now apply. Now, it's not Chimini. I'm just going to type what it is. It's a UK foreign scholarship, and it's sponsored by the UK foreign government. I'm just going to write it in the chat. It's called Chevening, right? I initially did a quick Google search so that I can drop the website of the scholarship, which I have just dropped now in the chat. So you can go through Chevening, look at the requirement, but just a disclaimer, Chevening is not an academic scholarship. You don't need to have 2-1, 2-2 and whatnot. It's a scholarship that tests your leadership capabilities, what you want to do, how you want to change the world, and all of that. So there are many fully funded scholarships. Yes, thank you, Kuseme. Kuseme has put a lot. They are fully funded, partially funded, tuition funded, half funded, whatever it is, charities, companies. Thank you for putting that in the chat, Kuseme. That saves us conversations in that area. So the next question after Cordy's question is that, wow, there's so many questions. Okay, so with funding in some schools, what are some of the challenges that you might face, especially for African students? Okay. Akintunde, can you just respond in 1 minute? While Akintunde is responding to that, Kuseme, can you quickly also respond to Fagbemi's, just put it at the back of your mind to respond to Fagbemi's, just for Fagbemi's question about what are the chances of securing a part-time job which will help you, like solve the financial, just what are the chances of securing a part-time job which can serve as financial support, even if you have a scholarship?
Is that a question for Is that a question for me?
No. Your question was, let me read your question. Your question was that, with funding, with some schools, funding cuts with some schools, what are some of the challenges that you can face or that causes things? What are some of the challenges that this might cause? Okay, with funding cuts, what are some of the challenges that this might cause, especially to African students? A lot of universities, even Chevening, I was really very surprised this year that they had only 13 people in the entire Nigeria out of 10,000 applications. Yeah, Lagos had only 13. In total, they were 15 or so. Yeah, compared to when we went, we were 47 as at 2020.
30-something, I guess. Was 30-something?
There were only 13 people from Lagos. And then if you add Abuja all together, it's a small number as compared to.
Oh, yeah.
So what are some funding cuts, and how can that affect, African students? And what are the challenges that you face?
Yeah, I was gonna respond. I think so. Somebody asked a question earlier on the kind of scholarship, and I think this in a way would answer the question because it's about the funding sources for scholarships. And I tell people it depends on the country and it depends on the kind of scholarship. If you're looking at Canada, US, Australia, New Zealand, you mostly get into those schools through research assistantship. So, generally what we call graduate assistantship. So, and graduate assistantship could be teaching assistantship or research assistantship or admin assistantship. And what does it mean? It means that the school would admit you because they want you to do some work for them. So you would be supporting professors to teach undergraduates, or you will be supporting professors for research, or you will be supporting the department for admin stuff. So they would offer you admission, but they are technically hiring you for that assistantship. And that assistantship qualifies you for tuition waiver, and then they will pay you for that assistantship per month. They call it stipend, but that is because a lot of visa rules in the US or in Canada compels you as a student to only work on campus. So that work you're doing as a teaching assistant or as a research assistant, you're getting paid for it. That is how it works. And most of the requirements when you get in anyway is that you need to, out of a 4.0 point, you need to maintain 3.0 or 3.5. I think it's 3.0 that you have to maintain. That is for North America and Canada for most of the schools. I mean, majorly in the US, that's actually how most grad schools are funded. Then research assistantship, the same procedure. You get in, you support a professor with research, you publishing all of those things, and then you get paid for it, right? But you could get into some elaborate programs like the Knight Energy Scholarship in Stanford, or the Chevening Scholarship, or the NED Fellowship, or the Obama Fellowship, or the AIG Scholarship, or the MacArthur, or the Rhodes Trust. So there are a lot of some big bodies, foundation that supports, that you apply for those scholarships independent of the universities. So when you get funded, those bodies pay for your school fee, and then they pay you monthly stipend. And I think once you get into that, I don't think, unless there are issues, I don't think that, there will be funding cuts for those, because once you are in, you're in, and that's it. Then of course, there's MasterCard. I mean, MasterCard scholarship is actually interesting. They will pay. In fact, they will even, when you get in, they will give you like, a latest MacBook. They will, even if you don't have passports, they will pay for your passport. MasterCard is very chill. Like, they take care of literally everything, And then there are scholarships that are only tuition with, right? As somebody, was talking about Bristol and Think Big scholarship. So some scholarships, they don't give you monthly stipend. They just make sure that you just get you in and you get free tuition. You don't have to pay tuition, right? And that's the way that is. And, when you say funding cuts, I tell people, if you want to apply, you don't my principle, and what I tell young people, don't apply for one, apply to more than 5. Think through UK, think through US, think through China, think through South Korea. I know there are scholarships in Asia that are great. So you could go there, do stuff, and then you can move to the US later, or you move to Canada later, or you move to the UK, depending on how you want to do it. I don't know, when there is a funding cut. So funding cut could be, Chivney cannot admit many more this year. So apply for more scholarships, apply for Chivney, great, but also apply for Erasmus, apply for that scholarship, apply for not NSC, apply for MasterCard, apply for, there are also some scholarships in the UK that are departmental level scholarships. They just have that scholarship that when you apply, you can apply for a African student scholarship, or people who are first generation scholars. You can apply for those within the department. So that's why I advise people, when you're applying for a course, think about, very many scholarships in that department. Some of them are, and we have a lot of those on, on the university website. A lot of time I tell people, if you are not sure, just if you get to a page, for instance, you will see the details that you can reach out to. Email them and ask and say, what are the available scholarships or funding up? And you can negotiate, actually. You can actually negotiate and say, hey, you are giving me 50% off, but I don't have funding. I can't take this. Can you advise? And some of them would even, I have a friend who got scholarship to study at the University of Maryland in the US, and it was like he emailed them that he can't take the scholarship because it's not the stipend is not going to pay his bills, and they said that they have another funding somewhere, and they added extra $5,000 to it. So you can always negotiate. Like I said, when you get, the moment they notify you that they are awarding you a scholarship or a funding, it means that there is something of value in you. You have to latch on that. Don't see it as them doing you a favor, because you're also going to add value anyway. So that's the way I would put it. But if you're already in or you're abroad and there's a funding cut, and that's going to be scandalous, because a lot of the scholarships are a student that a lot of international students that are on a student visa, you can't work beyond 20 hours a week. And that makes it really complicated. You can't work more than 20 hours a week. And some of them are restricted to campus, but some schools don't restrict it to campus, you can work anywhere, but you can't do beyond 20 hours. I don't know. I don't think anybody who's not getting funded, I don't think they can survive, the rigors of grad school, the rigors of in a new environment, the cold during winter. I don't think you can survive really without funding, unless you have to work. And if you have to work extra, I don't know how. I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry if that's not the way what people want, but unless you have a sponsor, it's kind of very difficult. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Akintunde. That's so spot on. I think you've addressed a bit of what Kuseme was supposed to ask, But Kuseme, just to add to the question on what are the chances of securing a part-time job, this question was asked by Audrey, right? The same question, similar, Sophia asked a question saying that, can I still decide to work part-time when I get there, even if I have a scholarship? So I think you can answer those two questions in one.
Yeah, so if you check the chat, I have put in some links to my channel just to save time, because I've talked about a lot of all these things. Think Big scholarship that Akintunde mentioned, Bristol scholarships. I have all those scholarships. I've broken them down on my channel, so you can copy these links so that you can refer to them later. Like Akintunde said, as a student abroad, I don't know how it is in some other countries, but in the UK, you can only work up to 20 hours a week as a student. And it would be very difficult if you have to pay your fees on 20 hours a week wages, because it's not really sustainable. That's just is meant to just be additional money for you, not the actual money that is sustaining you, because that is not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough, and you don't want to break your visa rules by going overboard. And yes, depending on the scholarship, but I think majority of scholarships would allow you to work up to 20 hours, but usually scholarships would prioritize you doing your master's degree, doing your studies. They're prioritizing your studies. So like, if you get a job, they would demand that you report to your program manager that you've gotten a job, and your program manager will access if you're able to do this job. But ideally, generally they will let you do the job as long as it does not interfere with your academic studies. Some scholarships would need you to maintain academic excellence while on the scholarship. So they'll tell you each semester we need you to have maybe distinctions or merit in your courses for you to maintain the scholarship, while others will not. So I think I've answered that question. If you go to my channel, you see I've put like 3 or 4 or 5 different links that will lead you to several scholarship videos on my channel, including
Thank you, Sister May, for
jobs
sharing
for
that.
students. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Quadri also asked a question, which I think we've addressed. He said, is work experience an indispensable part of scholarship applications? Like we said, it depends on application, the scholarship application body. Sometimes it may be of academic excellence. Sometimes so the dynamics of the scholarship differs, which is why it's important that you do that research to make sure that you understand what the requirements of that scholarship is. So the next question is from Still Fagbeni. In April, I was about applying for University of Bristol Think Big Scholarship. The application process was structured in a way that I had to apply for the scholarship, then apply to the school. In the application process, I was requested to pay $60 for the application fee to the university. Does that apply to other scholarships? I'm going to save my guest the stress of answering that question. Again, like we said, Akintunde, do you want to take it before me? That I would gladly
I'm
have
sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, because I mean, I know that, we are pressed for time, but I do know that a lot of people have lost out on opportunities because of the application fee. It's chaotic. It's crazy.
Yeah.
There is a scholarship called Empty Scholarships, Michael Taiwo Scholarships. You could just check Empty Scholarships, on Twitter. They help smart applicant to pay for this, application fee. They help you pay for GRE fee. They help you pay for. I think if you get into that, it's not like a scholarship to pay for your tuition, but if you get into it, it's a Nigerian. Michael Taiwo is a Nigerian, so they help you pay for these applications. So because I always tell people that if a school is too big to waive your application, leave. But I have also come to realize, to those who I have told in the past, I'm sorry I said that, I have come to realize that there is a different vibe and a different opportunity and an additional flex that comes with going to Ivy League universities. I in the past I would say, oh, if Oxford is saying you should pay, go away, go to. I beg. If you have the credentials, and you, oh, sorry, there's a feedback. Sorry, my gosh, there's like a noise. Okay. If you have the credentials and you have the grit and you can deal with rejection, please, if it is Stanford, if it is Cambridge, if it is Harvard, if it is MIT, Princeton, Cornell, all those top schools, I beg you, if it is $60, if you like Kuseme had given you idea that you should save, please save. I don't think anybody have any reason not to save. I know that Nigeria is difficult. Africa can be difficult, but you can save. Another thing you also do. Sorry, there's a feedback. I know that Abigail, there's time, that there's no time, but this is a very
I know. I mean, that's why I left you to speak. Honestly,
And
can somebody in the team help me check whose mic is unmuted?
yeah, there's like a lot of feedback. It's kind of distracting. Because what I want to say on this is that you should latch on family and friends if you don't have savings. There are some you can apply, you can reach out, think big scholarship. I think big scholarship, you don't get stipend, or you get stipend is not so much, but you have to pay for it. But think big is a scholarship within Bristol, and it's a great scholarship. I am one of my friends just actually graduated from Bristol on a Think Big scholarship. And that was the first time I got to know that Bristol has a Think Big scholarship. Then at the University of Sussex, there's an IDS scholarship. They only give it to one person per year, right? So apart from all these popular, people have gotten into LSE, scholarship that I don't even know exists. One of my colleagues, got into Cambridge scholarship, one scholarship at the Department of African Studies at Cambridge. It was funded by the department. It's crazy. Some schools you apply, they will ask you when you are applying, they will say, do you want to be considered for some scholarship? Just tick yes for all of that, I beg. They will say you should do an extra 200 words reason why you should be selected. Please, if you can, put in for those things. You can apply for one school and they will consider you for 2, 3, 4, 5 different scholarships. So I tell people that there are a million scholarships out there, and don't worry if you've never had anybody win the scholarship before. You can be the first in your generation. You can be the first in your circle. That's okay. A scholarship, and I tell people who don't know that I have sense, which is this can be funny to people. Since I got Chivney, which is I find it really interesting. People just think that I automatically assume that you have sense when you win scholarship. It just changes. It changes the way people just start calling you scholar. I'm like, there's not a scholar. It's not calling you scholar. It changes the game. It opens door. It validates your experience. And since I won Chivney, there's nothing you want me to apply for. I will just tell you that now. It's okay. If I survive Chivney, the 4 essays, why not? Why can't I? So I tell people, please, if you can apply for the waiver, email them and tell them. But if you can't get the waiver, please check out other scholarships. Reach out to friends and families that if they can support your application. I will wrap now, but yeah, I just don't run away from a scholarship because they ask you to pay. Paying $60 to win $60,000. I just think that I think it's worth it.
Thank you so much, Akintunde. Guys, I'm so sorry that we've exceeded your 15 minutes that you gave to us. It just goes to show that our speakers are very passionate. They want you guys to clinch the scholarship, right? The very last question that I see here, for any other question you have, you can engage us on our social media groups, Ignite Pro community on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Twitter. You can throw your questions there, and our speakers will be always gracious to respond. And so one question from Michael Ahoma. You mentioned that what scholarship programs accept MSc courses for bioinformatics? You'd be quite surprised there are a lot. You just need to do the research, right? You just need to do the research. A lot has come up in terms of AI, robotics, automation, so you can check online and you should be able to see scholarship. Like we said, when you're doing this on the search engines, be specific. Don't ask very generalistic research that would not, questions on Google that would not tailor what you're looking out for. We have a lot of questions, but unfortunately we can't take that. We also have a feedback form, which I'll post on the link, and then I'll also post the social media handles of our guest speakers if you want to engage them, and speak to them. Rotimi, thank you so much. I'm glad that it's been worthwhile. Thank you for that beautiful feedback. And just to wrap up quickly, I had some general questions because I know that it's one thing to talk about scholarships, but how can, to my 3 speakers, how can people, I won't talk about letter of recommendations because Chinada and Kuseme graciously talked about that. It's important to start engaging your lecturers, people that will give you references, because they need to be able to speak about you. But there are 3 things actually that I want to ask. I will spread that across. Kuseme, how can one practically deal with imposter syndrome? Sometimes we feel like we're not good enough during application process. That's for you. When you're done, Akintunde, how can people Akintunde is very passionate, but I'll still ask you. How can people craft very compelling personal statements? For those of us that don't understand personal statements, it's when a school tell you, why are you applying to this scholarship? Or why are you applying for this course? Or why are you applying to this school? That's what a personal statement is. That's where you stand out. So what are top tips, Akintunde, that people can, use to craft a compelling personal statement to stand out when applying for scholarship? And then Kuseme, what are strategies to deal with imposter syndrome, right? Then Chinaza, my very last question to you would be, what are some common mistakes that candidates make when applying for foreign scholarship? And that will be the wrap up session. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you for that question. Imposter syndrome. Well, I saw a video that I think is very inspiring on social media. It was an interview that was Obama was the guest, and Obama was speaking, and he said that when you see people sitting in a room or on a table, you think they're all that. But when you get to sit on that table with them, you actually find out that they are not all that. They are just there, or you are even smarter than them. Why am I saying this? I deal with imposter syndrome every time. You could sit there and say, oh, Kuseme is doing so much. Deep down, I still have an imposter syndrome. I've dealt with that even while making all my applications. I remember the speech I made at our Achieving Return Home ceremony, Welcome Back Home ceremony. They asked me to come and share my experience and all of that. And I said something that, when it was my first time traveling out of Nigeria and I didn't know a lot about whatever was going on, but I learned to do it afraid. So let me just tell you, you're never going to feel like you're the best person for the job, but you will apply anyways. You're never going to feel like your application is good enough, but you will submit it anyways. That's how we do it. We do it with the imposter syndrome. It's never going to leave you. It's going to be there, but you know what you're going to do? You're going to work with it. Whether the application is good enough, whether you think your experience is good enough or not, you will submit the application. Because if you don't submit, how will you know if it's good enough? It is only if you submit and stand a chance to be selected that you will know when eventually you were selected. You will not say, oh, actually, I was good enough. But do you know what? You will still find other ways to discredit yourself. So when you're done discrediting yourself, go and submit the application at the end of the day. So it's something that you have to deal with. You have to deal with it in every stage. You will see people like Oprah Winfrey still tell you that they're dealing with imposter syndrome. You see people like Michelle Obama still tell you they're dealing with imposter syndrome. It never goes away. You just have to manage it at every level. Okay, so when it comes, you speak to yourself. Yes, I know that there are people that, and the thing is that I think one thing you need to understand that will help you is that there is nothing that you would do in life that another person has not done a bigger thing. So there will always be someone better than you, and there will always be somebody you are better than. So it depends on who you are comparing yourself with. So whether you're scared, whether you're afraid, whether you have imposter syndrome, I'm not good enough, it's never going to go away. But you need to understand that it shouldn't stop you from doing what you need to do. Okay? It's going to be there. But should you apply for the job? Yes. If you get a rejection, you collect it and put it in your pocket. Like all of us for this table, we don't chop rejection now. It's not the first thing, it's not the last thing. And the thing is that no matter how big you are, you will still be applying for opportunities at that level, and you'll still be ready to get no's. So that's just how to deal with it. Don't let it stop you.
Thank you, Kuseme. Thank you so much. And Chinaza, over to you. So the question that I asked earlier on, what are the common mistakes that candidates make when applying for foreign scholarship? If you can just respond in 5 seconds.
You hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so some of these common mistakes, that's it, right? That's the question. Some of the common mistakes we make. Okay, so sorry, I was so and one first one, it's not starting on time. Like you have a particular application coming up, let's say in January, and now first week of January, December, you've not even started making plans for this application. You're waiting for it to open in January, then you will now start. No, you are wrong. You need to start now. Don't put your referees in tight corner. Like, give them information beforehand. Kuseme mentioned that. Because once you already see that an application process is opening in January, and by December, you've not informed your referee that you're interested in applying for these so scholarships, you are doing yourself. What people don't know is that referees, treat referees as that's your essay you are submitting. Because without them, your application is not going anywhere. I don't know, like some of the scholarships that require referee letters and reference letters, this is it. It's as good as that your personal statement or whatever you're submitting, because without them, you can't do anything. So inform them on time, provide them with all the information that is needed before you make the application. And ask them if they are willing, if they are open. Some people will go and put somebody's name there and the person don't know. Like, how will you do that kind of thing? I don't understand. You know, the Major's voice. Anyway, so anyway, what I'm saying is that inform them early enough, mention, like, try to let them know that you're applying for a particular scholarship. Well, another thing, it's escaping my mind, that I also want to mention, it's ignoring the scholarship itself, not understanding the requirements. What do they require? Did you read? I've mentioned it before. It's also one of those common mistakes. Read, so that you understand the eligibility criteria and everything that is required of you. Have a book or something. Like, I had one journal, that's where I write this scholarship, Chevney 2020, because I had 2022, 2021, 20, all the 20s. And then I started from 2018 and got for in 2020. So write which referee do you want. Don't, like, remember that we are advising you to spread your tentacles, right? But if you use 3 referees for all of your 10 applications or more, so shuffle them. Because some of them may not be available. So ask, are you available? I want to apply this at so time. Shuffle them, right? Make sure that you know which referee are you using for a particular application, and then maybe one consistent one, then the other ones you can always, like, okay, this person for this and this person for that. Also, what else? Also know that some of the mistakes people make asking questions or not asking questions, you are not bold enough to type your questions to that email they provided on the website, on the scholarship website or whatever, contact list. These are the people you should, that's the email or the information you should, contact info that you should send your questions to, but let your questions not be already on the website. So you have to read before even finding a strong question. And why you start early is because if you have that kind of question, if you have it towards 2 weeks to the end, you are stressing yourself already. So start on time so that if you have any question, let's say an application window is 2 months or 3 months, you start asking your questions on time, okay? So take care. That's it for now. And if you have any questions, you can always ask me.
Thank you. Thank you, Chinasa. Sorry, guys.
Just to mention, sorry.
Thank you so much.
I will be leaving now. And if you have any question, I already sent my YouTube link that you can always check the videos I posted. Erasmus Mundus is ongoing. I love talking about Erasmus Mundus, believe me, even though I love talking about Chevney, but Erasmus has a place in my deepest heart.
European bed. We know.
Yeah. So take care and God bless you.
Thank you so much for coming on. We really, really appreciate you, Chinasa.
Welcome.
Yeah, it was nice to see you, Chinasa.
Yeah, couscous. Everybody's couscous. I always hear
everybody's couscous. Thank you so much for coming on, guys. We thank you for staying on till the end. We have a feedback survey that I'm going to repost it on the call. Chinasa, take care, have a good day, and we'll talk soon. I'm going to repost the link to the survey if you can help us give our feedbacks concerning this session. I know it's been beautiful for some of us, we hope that you've been able to take something home. I really apologize to Ignite Pro community. I thought I could do this in 1 hour, 45 minutes, but apparently I have passionate speakers. So please forgive me if we've taken so much of your time. We know that it's Saturday. Kuseme has a slide where where she has posted different websites that we can find opportunities and scholarship. And we'll send that across to the team, courtesy of Kuseme, and she has put that very nicely. She had requested if she could display that and we take quick screenshots, but I'm very pressed of time. So what will happen is that the team is going to send that by email to every single one who's registered. I'm sure that they have a database for everybody who has registered for this. So that's courtesy Kuseme. Akintunde, very quickly, if you can just speak on the pro tips on personal statement very quickly in like 1 minute. No, 1 minute is too much. I'm giving you 30 seconds. so that we can wrap up.
I don't think I should talk about it really, because it's you can't talk about personal statement in 30 seconds.
Now the problem I get with this. Now the
So
problem I
I
get
think
with this.
so. I'll just tell you.
Avoid us next time. If you don't want us, stop
You know,
us.
A whole mayor of Brighton. I'm sorry, sir, but I'm pressed for time.
It's a Duke, actually. It's a Duke. You know, you didn't come to Sussex. So if you come to Sussex, you would have known as a Duke, not a mayor. You know, so but I don't know. I think there's no way I can talk about, writing your SOP in 30 seconds. It's very complicated. But what I would do is to potentially just probably email you something to share with those who register for this webinar.
Okay, people are saying they want to hear it so badly. Yeah. We're pressed for time, guys. It is 8:25 p.m. We've been on this call since past 6. Akintunde, love your question.
Let's Akintunde take it, please.
Okay, thank you, guys. So the team has said you can take it, but I still give you 1 minute. 1 minute. And it's very slide, wahala.
So I'll tell you why, and I think that, if you want to do this again, writing statement of purpose is actually like an hour long. That's like the minimum time you could use for it. But there's a way I try to segment this, and this is to the left, to my left of my screen is this guide, and this to the right, this is my first ever SOP 6 years ago. I'm not so proud of it, but it got me to I think East Anglia. I think I got into East Anglia with it, and they offered me like a 50% scholarship. I can't remember, So it's a statement of purpose. It's not about, like I said earlier when I was talking, you need to know the kind of scholarship you're applying and what they require. A lot of time they have a guide to how you should write your SOP. There is statement of purpose, there is statement of academic interest, there is personal statement. They may sound similar, they're different. Some want you to talk about who you are as a person, your background, why you are who you are today. Some want you to tell them about your academic interests, right? So you need to introduce, your academic field of interest, right? Why it interests you and what you aspire to do in the domain. And I would just try in a way to, you can talk about, your industrial exposure, your professional experience, what you have done and all of that. So what I would just do, I know that Habi would not like this thing that I want to do, but I'm going to do it regardless and apologize in the DM, just so that she's able to, people can get value from this process. So when you are writing your statement of purpose, right? I am Akintunde and I work, as a media professional. So, and I'm interested in, AI risk, how development of AI, poses essential risks. So this is how I will start. I would say that, depending on the kind of scholarship that you're looking at, right? So, if you're depending on how you are, how you're thinking about it, what I would first do in this is that I would say that, one of the most important issues in digital and emerging technology today is artificial intelligence, right? Ignore the errors. You would think about, you are trying to say that, hey, right, you could also potentially, this has even gotten more popular with the introduction of generative AI, that is open AI's, ChatGPT. Why these are transformations that are exciting, there are risks that they pose that requires academic inquiries. My decision to study AI and tech policy at Ignite Pro University is inspired by the faculty lineups and area of research that has examined AI risks holistically in recent time. So what you are trying to do, this is kind of, the errors are there, but what you're trying to do is, one, talk about the current thinking, what is happening. Then you're also talking about the fact that there is a reality that you're trying to look at, and you are interested in AI risk, right? And you're also trying to make a case and say, this is just an introductory paragraph. What you're trying to say is that the university that you are applying to, and this is, they have faculty that are currently thinking in that regard. The next thing you want to do is to say, then again, that's one. Secondly, you may want to talk about your own background, because again, it depends on, this one is like an academic focused interest. But if you want to talk about your own background, you could say, with a degree in computer science and having spent 5 years as a research assistant at Ignite Pro Research Lab, I have been part of many research engagements that has explored, that has investigated how AI generated fakes have impacted Africa's electoral landscape. A recent paper that I co-authored with Professor Odishika showed XYZ. It is my desire to explore these interests further, and the computer science master's program at Ignite Pro University offers that XYZ. So this is a second approach that first talk about your background, what you're doing, XYZ, and links to the problem, and then you tighten it together. The third one, which is like my least favorite, it could be, as someone who grew up in one community where get money, kinikon, that kind of stuff. So again, when we think of SOP, what you're expected to do, is to tell them how why you are applying, what you want to do with the application, why that course, what you want to do with it in your career, why that university, and what value you will have if you get on it. I think that an understanding of the course you want to study, the program you want to research, the faculty in that university, their area of interest, their alignment with your own, and how it fit into where you're coming from. I think that's how to get started when you're writing your SOP. Abigail, I'll use the mic.
Guys, if we can use our emojis to give Akintunde some round of applause for this. I mean, I've always known your passion. They're clapping for you, Akin. Thank you so much, Akintunde. Thank you, Kusemi. It's been such a rewarding, engaging conversation with all of you. And we'd like to thank the team for giving us the opportunity to share our passion. Everybody on the call. We apologize that we over exceeded the time. We just wanted to make sure that we cover all areas. So at this time, thank you, Ignite Pro, for the opportunity to host this. And thank you for the team. You guys are doing awesome work. I'm just going to hand over to Toba on the call. He's just going to give us some feedback about what we are as a community and things that we've done in the past. And we hope that you just stay on. So thank you guys. I hand over to you guys, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Abigail. Confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm seeing my screen. Okay, thanks. Just to start by saying thank you so much to you and to all the other speakers. Thank you, Kuseme. Thank you, Akintunde. Thank you, Chinaza. Thank you for creating time out to be a part of this session, despite your busy and tight schedule and the different time zones. We are really grateful. It's been very interactive and engaging, and I'm very sure to everyone here it's been worthwhile as well. So thank you so much. Thank you to all the participants for joining in. It's been quite some time in here, but it's also been very, very value adding. Just to quickly announce that we're going to be sharing. This session was recorded and was also streamed on YouTube. So we're going to be sharing that to all of us. We're going to be sending out mails. We've seen a couple of requests about channels and all of that, and we're going to oblige as well. Some of the links and the helpful links that Kuseme shared as well, we're going to send it out via mails as well, and the social media handles to our speakers, so you can go to their pages, engage them, and learn from them as well. It's too short a time to take it all in, right? So you can go to their pages, follow them, subscribe to their channels, and learn as much as possible. For us at Ignite Pro, we're basically a community, not just a network of young people, professionals, students, and graduates. We're a community focused on helping people to thrive. Sometime middle of this year, we had a bootcamp event, a leadership and professional development bootcamp, where we got a couple of speakers, industry, oil and gas industry, and leadership coaches and experts as well, just to come in and speak. Abigail, as I would say, one of our own, was also one of the speakers at the event we held in Port Harcourt. And of course, we had a career fair as well, and gave out a couple of grants, scholarship, and business grants as well. We have a couple of activities lined up coming up. We have a breakfast mentoring session that's going to come up later next month, just for a select number of people. We have a couple of leaders who have agreed to be mentors. And we're going to have just that, maybe a 2 hours breakfast session meeting with some of those leaders and picked, and about 30 people as well, just to learn from them. So look out for that event on our channels, on our LinkedIn pages, and social media pages as well. And then we're going to run a series of podcasts with a couple of founders and CEOs, both senior leaders and young leaders. Like I said, what we're trying to do is to help people thrive, is to help people learn from people, learn from one another, learn from people who have gone through certain journeys in this life, and see how we can glean from them and equip ourselves to be better in the society and in the world as well. And then, of course, that will lead up to the grand finale of the second edition of the boot camp, Accelerate 2.0, sometime next year as well. So it's packed. We've got a couple of programs as well. We've got a couple of programs coming up with Lagos Business School as well. And the whole intent of all of this, like I said before, is just to help people thrive in the world, basically, and be better as well. So look out on our pages, watch out for us, stay connected as well. We have a community, WhatsApp community, where we basically share a lot of job opportunities, internship opportunities. As at the last count, I think we're over 120 on that WhatsApp community, and we share job opportunities, scholarship offers, internship opportunities. As much as possible, try to help with some placements where we can as well. So just stay connected with us, and not just with us in Ignite Pro, but you've seen our speakers here today. Please stay connected to them. Let's learn from them as well. Thank you so much for joining. It's been a wonderful night, and we're very grateful to you all for staying with us and being a part of this event. We look forward to having you join us in our subsequent events. I'm going to call it a close for now. We'll stay connected. Thank you, and talk to you some other time. Thank you, Abigail, Akin, Kuseme, Chinaza, and everyone. We're so grateful to have you. Thank you all, and goodbye for now.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Toba. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you, Kuseme.
Thank you so much, and good night.
Good night, everybody. Please join our communities.
Bye.
Bye, guys.